Right now, as you sit here watching this, something is happening inside your body that most people never think about. Tiny clusters of abnormal cells are forming. Not maybe forming, they are forming. This is not a theory or a scare tactic. It is basic biology. Every single person listening to this has microscopic cancers developing in their body at this very moment. The real question is not whether they exist. The real question is whether they will ever become dangerous. Most people assume cancer is mainly about genetics or family history. Those factors matter, but they are not the deciding force. What truly determines whether a microscopic cancer turns into a life-threatening disease comes down to three systems. Your body controls every day: your immune response, your control of inflammation, and your ability to regulate blood vessel growth. I'm Dr. Becker, an emergency medicine physician and cancer researcher. After nearly 3 decades studying how the body responds to disease, I've seen both sides of this equation. I've watched what happens when these natural defenses weaken and cancer gains ground. But I've also seen something equally powerful. Certain foods in precise amounts tested in human studies can strengthen these internal defenses, even in people over 60 and even in those already diagnosed. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 foods that research has shown fight cancer at the cellular level. We'll look at how they work through multiple biological pathways to slow tumor growth, enhance immune surveillance, and reduce the internal conditions that allow cancer to expand. Most importantly, I'll give you the exact amounts used in clinical research. Not guesses. Not trends. Real doses that were studied in real people. Before we go further, I have a quick request. Many viewers tell me they've watched several videos before realizing they weren't subscribed. Take 2 seconds right now to check. It costs nothing, and it helps this information reach more people who truly need it. Now, here is the part that surprises most people. At any given time, you have thousands of microscopic cancers inside you. This is established science. When researchers perform autopsies on people who died in accidents, individuals with no cancer diagnosis and no symptoms, they consistently find small clusters of cancer cells. About 40% of women in their 40s have microscopic breast cancer. Around 50% of men in their 50s have microscopic prostate cancer. By their 70s, nearly 70% of people have tiny thyroid cancers. Yet most of these never become clinical disease. Why? Because your body has 3 powerful defense systems holding them in check. The first is your immune system. Specialized cells such as natural killer cells, T cells, and macrophages patrol your body around the clock. Their job is to identify abnormal cells and eliminate them. This happens thousands of times throughout your life without you ever noticing. Think of it like security guards constantly inspecting every room in a building. The moment they detect a threat, they remove it. Your immune system works in exactly that way. The second defense is inflammation control. Inflammation is not always harmful. If you cut your finger, inflammation helps heal the wound. But chronic inflammation is different. It is like a low-grade fire that never goes out. It releases chemical signals that encourage cells to grow faster and ignore normal stop signals. Microscopic cancers thrive in that environment. Keep inflammation low, and those abnormal cells remain dormant. Let it run unchecked, and you give them permission to grow. When chronic inflammation continues unchecked, it creates the perfect setting for trouble. This is why people with long-standing inflammatory conditions often show higher cancer rates. It is not simply the diagnosis itself that increases risk. It is the constant inflammatory environment that encourages abnormal cells to expand. Inflammation sends signals that promote cell division and survival, even when those cells should be eliminated. Microscopic cancers respond to those signals like dry wood responding to sparks. The third defense system is one that very few people ever hear about, yet it may be the most decisive of all. It is called angiogenesis, which simply means the growth of new blood vessels. Every healthy cell in your body depends on blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients. Your organs are filled with an intricate network of tiny vessels that keep tissues alive. But here is the critical detail. Microscopic cancers cannot grow beyond a certain size unless they develop their own blood supply. A tumor cannot grow larger than about 2 millimeters, roughly the size of a ballpoint pen tip, without recruiting blood vessels. At that size, it remains limited and often harmless. But if it manages to signal your body to grow vessels toward it, everything changes. Once blood vessels begin feeding that cluster of cells, supplying oxygen and nutrients, growth can accelerate dramatically. In experimental models, tumors can increase thousands of times in size within weeks once blood supply is established. That shift marks the difference between a dormant speck and an aggressive disease. Angiogenesis is not inherently harmful. It is essential for wound healing and normal tissue repair. The problem begins when cancer cells hijack this process. Your body does have natural anti-angiogenic defenses designed to prevent inappropriate vessel growth. When those defenses are strong, abnormal cells remain contained. When they weaken, blood vessels form, and the cancer gains momentum. So how do we support these three systems: immune surveillance, inflammation control, and regulation of blood vessel growth? This is where food becomes more than calories. It becomes biological instruction. The first food we need to discuss is green tea. Its power comes from a group of compounds called catechins, especially one known as EGCG, short for epigallocatechin gallate. The name is complex, but the function is clear. When you brew green tea, this compound dissolves into the water. Whether you use tea bags, loose leaves, or matcha powder, EGCG is present. In the body, EGCG influences all three defense pathways. First, it significantly reduces inflammation. In controlled studies, participants who drank green tea daily for several weeks showed measurable reductions in inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha. The decreases range from 30 to 50%, levels comparable to some pharmaceutical interventions. Second, EGCG enhances immune performance. Research involving older adults who consumed several cups of green tea daily demonstrated a marked increase in natural killer cell activity. These immune cells became far more effective at identifying and destroying abnormal cells. Third, and perhaps most important, EGCG has anti-angiogenic properties. Laboratory and animal studies show that tumors exposed to EGCG struggle to recruit new blood vessels. Growth slows substantially when the blood supply is restricted. Large population studies reinforce these findings. In long-term research conducted in Japan, individuals who drank 5 or more cups of green tea daily had significantly lower rates of colon, stomach, and esophageal cancers compared to those who drank little or none. The protective effect was particularly strong in the digestive tract because green tea directly bathes those tissues as it passes through. Preparation matters. Boiling water can damage catechins, and extremely hot beverages can injure the esophagus. Instead, heat water to about 175 degrees Fahrenheit, or let boiling water sit for several minutes before pouring. Steep for 5 minutes to extract the compounds fully. 2 to 3 cups daily represents the effective range used in many studies. For higher potency, matcha ground whole tea leaves provides a concentrated source, with 1 teaspoon delivering a substantial catechin dose. The next group of foods that make a remarkable impact are cruciferous vegetables, with broccoli leading the pack. This family includes cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, and bok choy. Their power comes from sulfur-containing compounds called sulforaphanes. These molecules give cruciferous vegetables their distinctive aroma when cooking, but more importantly, they act as potent cellular protectors. Sulforaphanes operate on all three of your cancer defense systems. First, they stimulate the immune system. Studies demonstrate that these compounds enhance the production and activity of natural killer cells and T cells, making them more efficient at identifying and eliminating abnormal cells. Second, sulforaphanes are anti-inflammatory. They activate a genetic pathway known as NRF2, which instructs cells to generate their own antioxidants. This internal antioxidant production is far more effective than consuming supplements because it works exactly where your cells need protection. Third, sulforaphanes are anti-angiogenic. They interfere with a tumor's ability to recruit blood vessels, keeping microscopic cancers small and harmless. A lesser-known fact is that the highest concentration of these compounds is found in the stalks of broccoli rather than the florets. Many people discard or avoid the stalk because of its tougher texture, but that's where the concentrated medicine is. Slicing the stalk diagonally and lightly sautéing it with garlic or blending it into soups preserves the nutrients and makes it enjoyable to eat. Broccoli sprouts, which are young seedlings grown for just a few days, take this protection to another level. A 3-day-old sprout contains roughly 100 times more sulforaphane than a mature broccoli head. Research at Johns Hopkins University showed that consuming just 2 ounces of these sprouts daily over 3 months significantly reduced cancer biomarkers in blood and urine, while simultaneously activating over 200 cancer-fighting genes. Growing them at home is simple, requiring only a mason jar, seeds, and water. In 3 days, you have a highly potent, cost-effective anti-cancer food. Next is papaya, a tropical fruit that may surprise some viewers because most people don't consider fruit as medicinal. Papaya's orange flesh is rich in carotenoids, particularly beta-cryptoxanthin. This compound is anti-inflammatory and anti-angiogenic and has a specific affinity for lung tissue. Studies consistently show that people with higher dietary intake of beta-cryptoxanthin experience significantly lower lung cancer rates. A long-term Harvard study following over 70,000 women for 18 years found that those with the highest intake had 31% lower lung cancer risk, even among former smokers. Papaya is easy to incorporate into your routine. A cup of fresh fruit or 1.5 cups of frozen chunks daily provides the effective dose studied. Concerns about fruit sugar are understandable, but whole fruits are packaged with fiber, antioxidants, and other compounds that slow sugar absorption. Unlike fruit juice or processed sugar, whole fruit does not spike insulin dangerously and, in fact, contributes to cancer protection. Purple potatoes are another remarkable food. Their deep purple color comes from anthocyanins, the same compounds found in blueberries and red cabbage. These antioxidants have powerful anti-inflammatory effects and directly influence tumor growth. Animal studies have shown that tumors in subjects fed purple potato extract grew significantly slower, and research has also revealed that anthocyanins selectively target cancer stem cells, the roots of tumors that can cause recurrence after treatment. Cooking purple potatoes is simple. Bake, roast, steam, or make a vibrant purple soup. Cooling them after cooking forms resistant starch, which benefits gut bacteria and helps reduce systemic inflammation. The effective intake is about 1 medium potato per day, or 1 cup of diced potatoes several times per week. Finally, we have pomegranate, a fruit revered for its medicinal properties for thousands of years. Packed with seeds surrounded by ruby red juice, it contains compounds called elagitannins. Once consumed, gut bacteria convert these molecules into urolithins, which provide powerful anti-angiogenic effects and feed beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia muciniphila. This species communicates directly with the immune system, activating cancer-fighting cells. Studies in men with prostate cancer who consumed 8 ounces of pomegranate juice daily showed dramatically slowed tumor growth, extending PSA doubling time from 15 months to 54 months. These results demonstrate both the anti-angiogenic and immune-supporting effects of pomegranate. Together, these 5 foods, green tea, broccoli, papaya, purple potatoes, and pomegranate, activate the body's natural defenses against cancer through multiple pathways. They reduce inflammation, boost immunity, and limit blood vessel growth to microscopic tumors. The best part? All of these foods are accessible, affordable, and easy to incorporate into your daily routine. Now that we understand the individual power of these 5 foods, let's talk about how to incorporate them into a practical daily routine that maximizes their cancer-fighting potential. This is not about occasional consumption or extreme diets. It's about consistency, proper preparation, and pairing foods with your body's natural rhythms. Start your morning with green tea. Brew 2 cups using the method I described earlier. Water heated to just below boiling, steeped for 5 minutes, never scalding. Sip slowly alongside your breakfast. This activates your immune system and reduces inflammation from the very first moments of the day. The antioxidants flow throughout your digestive tract, coating tissues with protective compounds, and begin suppressing blood vessel recruitment to microscopic cancers. If you want to increase potency, matcha powder is an excellent alternative, providing a concentrated dose of EGCG in just 1 teaspoon. Mid-morning, have a serving of papaya. 1 cup of fresh or frozen chunks works best. Pair it with a small amount of protein or fat, such as nuts or seeds, to moderate sugar absorption and maintain steady energy. As your body absorbs beta-cryptoxanthin, it preferentially accumulates in the lungs, reducing inflammation and preventing blood vessel growth in that tissue. You are directly targeting one of the most vulnerable organs with a simple, natural action. For lunch, include broccoli or broccoli sprouts. Half a cup of sprouts on a salad or sandwich, or 1 cup of cooked broccoli, including the stalk, provides a robust dose of sulforaphane. Remember, the stalk is where the concentration is highest. Slice it diagonally and lightly saute with olive oil and garlic, or blend it into soups for maximum effect. Sulforaphane strengthens immune defenses, reduces inflammation, and inhibits angiogenesis. With regular intake, your cell's antioxidant production ramps up, providing internal protection that external supplements cannot match. Mid-afternoon is a perfect time for another cup of green tea. By now, you've reached the daily therapeutic dose of 3 cups, sustaining EGCG in your system and continuing to support immune and anti-inflammatory activity. Drinking it at consistent intervals maintains steady levels of active compounds in the bloodstream, reinforcing the body's natural defenses throughout the day. Dinner should include purple potatoes. Bake, roast, steam, or prepare as a creamy purple potato soup. Let them cool after cooking to create resistant starch. This minor step has a profound impact. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce systemic inflammation. Anthocyanins from the potatoes simultaneously target cancer stem cells and inhibit angiogenesis. 1 medium purple potato daily, or a cup of diced pieces several times per week, is sufficient to activate these pathways effectively. Pairing the potatoes with other vegetables, or lean protein, enhances nutrient absorption and overall anti-cancer benefits. Before bed, drink 8 ounces of pomegranate juice, diluted with water if the tart flavor is too strong. This gives your gut bacteria time overnight to convert elagitanins into urolithins. Akkermansia mucinifila, a key bacteria species for cancer prevention, proliferates while you sleep, communicating with your immune system and activating cancer-fighting cells. Alternatively, enjoy the seeds directly by adding them to yogurt or salads. 1 pomegranate every few days or a daily glass of juice maintains steady levels of these protective compounds in your system. Consistency is the critical factor. These foods are effective when consumed daily over weeks, months, and years. Eating them sporadically will not yield measurable results. Think of this routine as a lifestyle adjustment rather than a short-term fix. Frozen vegetables and fruits are perfectly acceptable if fresh options are unavailable, as they often retain higher concentrations of bioactive compounds than produce that has been in storage for days. If you are currently undergoing cancer treatment, it is essential to inform your oncologist before incorporating these foods into your diet. Research indicates that these compounds do not interfere with conventional therapies like chemotherapy, radiation, or immunotherapy. In many cases, they enhance treatment effectiveness, reduce side effects, and may lower recurrence risk. Integrating these foods as part of a broader anti-inflammatory diet, avoiding processed meats, fried foods, and excess sugar further amplifies the protective benefits. This approach is not just theoretical. Decades of clinical observation and human studies consistently show that adults over 60, individuals with genetic predispositions, and even those with active diagnoses can benefit. When implemented consistently, these 5 foods create a multi-layered defense against cancer, stimulating immunity, calming chronic inflammation, and limiting tumor growth through anti-angiogenic effects. The pathway to protection is simple, accessible, and grounded in science. Let's dive deeper into how these 5 foods work together as a comprehensive, daily defense system against cancer. Each food targets multiple pathways, creating overlapping protection that's greater than the sum of its parts. You aren't just eating vegetables or drinking tea, you're actively engaging your body's natural mechanisms to suppress microscopic cancers before they can grow. Green tea, for example, provides EGCG, which simultaneously reduces inflammation, boosts immune surveillance, and blocks blood vessel growth to tumors. Broccoli and its sprouts supply sulforaphanes, stimulating immune cells, activating internal antioxidant pathways, and preventing angiogenesis. Papaya delivers beta-cryptoxanthin, which preferentially accumulates in lung tissue, lowering inflammation and blocking blood supply for potential tumors. Purple potatoes supply anthocyanins that kill cancer stem cells and reduce angiogenesis while feeding gut bacteria through resistant starch. Finally, pomegranate elagitanins are transformed by gut microbiota into urolithins that feed Akkermansia mucinifila, a bacteria that directly communicates with immune cells, enhancing tumor surveillance and destruction. The beauty of this combination lies in its timing and layering. Starting the day with green tea primes your immune system and reduces systemic inflammation. Mid-morning papaya gives your lungs targeted protection. Lunch with broccoli or sprouts continues immune activation while adding anti-inflammatory compounds. And mid-afternoon green tea keeps the defense system active during the day's stressors. Dinner with purple potatoes reinforces anti-cancer activity in the digestive system and throughout the body while feeding gut bacteria that help modulate inflammation. Finally, pomegranate juice before bed ensures your gut microbiome is actively supporting cancer defenses overnight. Taken together, these steps maintain steady activation of your body's natural defenses every hour of the day. Consistency is critical. Clinical studies show that occasional consumption is ineffective. The therapeutic benefits only appear when these foods are consumed daily, week after week, month after month. Over time, your immune cells increase in number and activity, chronic inflammation decreases, cancer-fighting gut bacteria flourish, and the signals that feed microscopic tumors are blocked. This creates an environment where microscopic cancers remain dormant indefinitely or are eliminated before they ever cause harm. Frozen and store-bought options are perfectly acceptable. Often, frozen fruits and vegetables retain higher levels of bioactive compounds because they are processed at peak ripeness, preventing nutrient degradation that occurs in produce stored for days or weeks. For broccoli, papaya, and pomegranate, freezing preserves sulforaphanese, beta-cryptoxanthin, and elagitanins, respectively, making these options convenient and cost-effective without sacrificing potency. Another advantage of this dietary strategy is that it complements conventional cancer treatments. For patients undergoing surgery, chemotherapy, or radiation, incorporating these foods does not interfere with therapy. Instead, it may enhance effectiveness. For example, compounds in green tea and broccoli sprouts can boost immune responses that support immunotherapy, while pomegranate elagitanins help maintain gut health, which is increasingly recognized as a critical factor in treatment outcomes. Patients report fewer side effects, improved energy, and better overall quality of life when these foods are consistently included alongside standard medical care. Importantly, this approach is preventive as well as supportive. Even if you have no current diagnosis, these foods protect against future cancer development. Research shows that regular intake of cruciferous vegetables, green tea, carotenoid-rich fruits, purple potatoes, and pomegranate is associated with significantly lower cancer incidence. A long-term study from Harvard following 50,000 men over 20 years found that those who consumed the highest amounts of these foods had a 50% lower overall cancer mortality rate. That's a remarkable, life-altering difference achieved through accessible, everyday foods rather than expensive, exotic supplements. This is a lifestyle strategy that doesn't require extraordinary effort. The foods are widely available at grocery stores, cost-effective, and easy to prepare. The key is to make them a daily habit, integrated into every meal, rather than sporadic additions to your diet. Small, consistent actions compound over time into measurable biological changes that strengthen your body's defenses and keep microscopic cancers in check. The takeaway is simple. You have more control over your health than most people realize. By making these 5 foods a daily staple, you actively reduce inflammation, boost immunity, suppress tumor growth, and optimize gut health, all while supporting your body's natural cancer defenses. This is not theoretical. It's backed by decades of clinical studies and real-world observations.